As far as entertainment goes, today was all about vibes because it was Chelsea 2, Nottingham Forrest 2. In my opinion, it was actually an entertainment game, and more importantly, there's actually something to talk about. Raheem Sterling gets a brace, Edouard Mendy makes a mistake, Badiashile and Thiago Silva were left in no man's land, and more importantly, we are starting to see some players actually show a little bit of character and a little bit of energy and emphasis like they want to play for the club next season. Of course, there is the agenda that continues against certain players, and certain players get discredited for doing basically nothing wrong. But this is Chatting Breeze. We're going to break this game down. We're going to look into the minor details. We're going to go into the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. 15 minutes of your time, and we are going to smash it. So before we continue, I need you lot to do me a massive quick favor, and it's the easiest thing you can do. Please hit the like button. It goes a long way. Subscribe to the channel because we're trying to hit 27k, and more importantly, in a pinned comment is my Instagram. Hit me up in the DMs with football related questions. Let's grow this community. Ask me all the questions you guys want. I usually tend to reply via voice note or even just by message. So now let's move on to the game because there's a lot to talk about. I'm in a fairly positive mood after that result, and I think whether that's because my standards have really lowered with this season and I've got ridiculously humbled, but there's a lot of good to take out of this performance today. Look, I'm not saying these goods are about the Chelsea standard, right? It's not what we have been accustomed to expect. But Raheem Sterling, 6 goals in 26 games now in the Premier League. He hasn't regularly been a starter, nor has he been fit all season, but today we saw some bright sparks from him, right? The first half was shocking, and I think everyone was shocking in the first half, so it's very hard to isolate him and have a go at him. But in reality, we saw some elements of Raheem's game that we could transfer into next season. I always say Raheem Sterling is a systemic player. You put him in a good system, he's going to be on the end of things, and he will get you 15 league goals a season. And today, we saw that in the first goal. You are in transition, Noni Madueke plays through Trevoh Chalobah, who gets to the byline. Beautiful cutback across goal. Very Manchester City-esque, by the way. This is what Manchester City do all the time. Cut it back to the penalty spot, and there's someone there waiting to strike it. In this case, it was Raheem Sterling, what he's been doing bread and butter for the last 5 years at Manchester City, and he finishes it with very good composure and cool finesse. And that gave Chelsea the urgency. And the second goal comes from confidence. Second goal definitely comes from confidence because we pressured Aurier in midfield. I don't know what Aurier was doing there. Aurier gets dispossessed. Ruben Loftus-Cheek picks up the ball. He carries the ball. Raheem Sterling's on his left. Ruben threads him through. Raheem gets the ball, cuts back in. Aurier goes flying with a stupid challenge, and Raheem curls it into the far top corner. And when you actually start deep in it, Raheem Sterling had a good game. Raheem Sterling should not be on the end of creating stuff. Raheem Sterling will never be that player. He has never been that player. When he was younger, he looked promising, but that had a lot to do with his explosiveness. The ability for him to isolate himself against someone one-on-one and just physically dominate him with his pace and acceleration. However, once he got into the men's game, he just realized he's smarter than everyone. He might not be physically strong and he can't get those little advantages. He's just smarter than everyone with his movement. And that's what generates him so many chances. And we saw that time after time today. The spaces he picks up, the pockets he picks up. Technically, he's very good in tight areas. You can't be a poor player technically and play for Pep as long as he did. So for me, Raheem was definitely a positive today. Another positive comes on. Certain players, in my opinion, had very good cameos today. Ruben Loftus-Cheek came off the bench, very positive in the second half, got the ball under control, technically gifted, strong, powerful, intelligent. He's just a good player. Ruben Loftus-Cheek is welcome to stay at Chelsea as long as he wants, in my opinion, for one reason. If Ruben is 4th choice centre midfielder. So if Ruben only plays 10 to 15 games a year and comes off the bench, I'm very happy with that. Because Ruben can play right back, left back, right centre back, right wing back, centre midfield, CDM, CAM. He's just very well versed. He's very comfortable on the ball. And yes, he can most probably do a left back job, like I said, because he's so comfortable in possession. He's safe and tidy. And we saw that from his assist, from his ability to dispossess people and carry the ball. He really brings the best out of Enzo, in my opinion. And then we saw the best of Trevoh Chalobah. Trevoh Chalobah is going to have a successful career elsewhere. I think when Trevoh moves on from Chelsea, Trevor's really going to surprise a lot of people. And I've said this many occasions because whilst I don't think he's good enough to start at Chelsea, I think Trevoh can go to an Inter Milan, go to a Juventus, go to a Roma, go to a German side like a Dortmund. And in a well-coached, well-drilled team, Trevoh can stand out. And a lot of people can say, Alex, you're talking nonsense. Trust me, a lot of you said I was talking nonsense when I said that about Tomori. And guess what happened? Tomori went on to have a fabulous career and now is really highly rated and touted around the world. And Trevoh Chalobah today, whether it was his deep lying runs, whether it's his ability to take a man on, whether it's the shape that he's got himself into, he just looks very physically imposing. I was very impressed by that. What was nice to see is a youngster got an opportunity today, and you couldn't tell. Hall, yes, he's not ready, and nor is he a left back. So it's very hard for him to be judged from a defensive standpoint. But in possession, very comfortable and very dominant in the sense that receives the ball in tight areas, willing to release the ball when needed, willing to take on the ball and carry it, which is something, in my opinion, Cucurella and Ben Chilwell really delegate away from. And so for me, in the long run, I genuinely think Ben has that position wrapped up for the foreseeable future, and in a good system, he's fine. And Ian Maatsen will be the backup, but I was very impressed with Hall. I want to see him again next week, and the week after, and the week after that. Because until the season ends, he needs to be playing ahead of Azpilicueta. For me, Hall was had one good pot shot. But all in all, he made the mistake for the second goal. We'll get into that. But I'm not going to blame an 18-year-old kid, because adults are making mistakes all the time. The ones that actually should be we're getting upset about. Finally, there are some elements of what I saw with Hall. I saw in Thiago Silva, right? Thiago Silva pulled him up. I think it was in the first few minutes. Cross comes in. Hall makes a mistake. It was from a corner. He didn't come to header it. And a player, I think it was Facey, whatever his name is, he literally got across him and headed it, and it went wide. Thiago went up to him and literally was delegating to him what he needs to do next time. And for me, that is so important. That's leadership. And that is the stuff that we don't see because we're not at the ground. Where we only see moments when the camera flickers to it. But in reality, you need leaders to step up and educate, talk people through games. And I thought Badiashile looked very good at first when he was in a Potter system, because Thiago, number one, was talking him through games, and number two, there was a system. At the moment, people are being left to be too exposed. So we need to be honest and open about it. I thought Enzo had a decent passing ranges. Honestly, Enzo would just rack up another highlight reel of just great passes, left, right, and center, always trying the difficult stuff. And I thought Joao was okay as well. Like, a lot of people are going to say, Alex, you're being a bias towards Joao. Someone in the comments consistently writes, find someone to love you the way Alex loves Joao Felix. Reality is, guys, what did Joao do wrong today? He's playing out of position. He's been asked to go up against two big centre halves. He's dropping into pockets. He's trying to create opportunities. He's attacking players. Yes, jinkity majinky. Some people don't enjoy that stuff. Some people just want a bruiser in the final third. I watch football for entertainment. I want to be entertained. Joao Felix entertains me when he plays. Pot shots from far, little trick, left, right, and centre. Under a good coach, you've got a player in your hand. I'm not saying he's Messi. I'm not saying he's Ronaldo. But I'm saying he's a good player. I think people have made their minds up about him. He's getting the Kai Havertz treatment. The fact, no matter how he plays, unless he scores an assist, people aren't going to be happy. They've made their mind up. He's crap. I don't like that kind of treatment. Yes, there are bad elements to this game, and we need to break it down. And the reality is, we need to be fair and we need to be open and honest. We can't keep leads. And the reason we can't keep leads is because we haven't had many this year. We don't know how to act. We don't know how to go forward after we take a lead, and it showed. We went 2-1 up, the players switched off, and we conceded another goal. And the reason we conceded another goal is because we're pathetic at dealing with crosses. Like, that is in the ugly, and we'll talk about that a bit later. But the second goal really insinuated everything that's wrong with us. The ball cross comes in, ball gets headed out, second ball goes in, players aren't switched on. Who's letting this man go? No one's got our knee. Like, our knees literally can't believe his luck. He's like, hold on, I'm dunked on Liverpool. Now I'm going to dunk on Chelsea too. 2-2. Mendy can't do anything about that one. Our knee's 3 yards out. And that's always going to be a goal. But what is also really disappointing me is how quick our fans have turned on Noni. Noni, all of a sudden, is a bad player, according to certain people. If you go through my timeline, Noni's crap, Noni can't do anything. Did Noni have a good game? I don't think Noni had a good game. And Noni did exactly what I said Noni's going to do. Noni's going to frustrate the hell out of a lot of people, because Noni Madueke tries to, and when it doesn't work, he'll get criticized for those things over the top. Because Noni will try a flip-flap. Noni will try a roulette in his own half. Noni will try to do the extravagant pass. My issues aren't with that. My issues is with the tracking back. Under a manager like Poch, Noni won't be played. And the reason is, Noni switches off when we don't have the ball. And there were many occasions when even when he tries to defend, he does it half-heartedly. So still, he's there in the picture, but he's not actually impacting it. And there were many times where Trevoh was getting doubled up 2-on-1 because Noni was half-heartedly defending. And this was very evident. I remember when we signed Noni and he had his first game against West Ham, he switched off and they scored from that. I remember that extravagantly because I was fuming. Like, it was a goal that we did not have to give away. And today again, Noni just does not track runners. And until he learns to do that, a serious manager will not play unless his productivity is above and beyond. Which I don't think at this moment in time, we're going to have to be patient, and it's not going to. One thing that was very obvious is Conor Gallagher, right? I see all the characteristics to why managers play. Effort, commitment, get stuck in challenges. A player that literally will leave his blood, sweat and tears on the pitch. But he's just not good enough technically. And I've seen enough to know this. Like, when we play at home as Chelsea, we play in against deep blocks, right? And the issue then arises that the team's packed up with 2 banks of 4, and in this case it was 5-1-2, 1-2, or whatever they played. And the reality is, we need to thread balls through into our attacking midfielders to receive it on the back foot, open it up, and be comfortable enough to do it, or receive it, we play a one touch and go in behind, or just be comfortable enough to ride a challenge. Conor can't do that. And this is a problem because the minute Conor tries to do it, pressure comes in behind, there's a turnover and the other team's at us. He's not brave on the ball, he's not comfortable in final possessions, he's going to get goals. And this is what people are going to say, right? Well, Alex, you know what? If you play a 4-3-3 and he's the one that makes the late run, it's fine. Problem is outside of the late runs, he still has to offer something. He needs to be competent. I don't think he is. That's my personal opinion. I am moving off Conor Gallagher as quick as possible. Whatever money we can accept, we can accept. And finally, another bad, I think Frank really does not know what he's doing when it comes to substitutions. You bring on, you take off Joao Felix, you bring on Kai Havertz. Okay, I get it. You bring on Hakim Ziyech. Why is Mikhailo Mudryk not coming on? Why is Detro Fofana not coming on? Why are players that are going to be here next year potentially not coming on? I understand you want to give minutes to players like Raheem Sterling. You want to develop them. You want to give them encouragement to go into next season. I understand that. But I also want to understand, we know Ziyech ain't going to be here. And I actually think Ziyech had a good cameo. This isn't anti-Ziyech. This is just realistically pro-Chelsea. Like, what are we going to do next year? I don't want to moan about this. I don't know what Frank is doing. 3 more games and I don't need to see Frank's face again. The ugly truth, and this is the harsh part that we need to break down, we can't deal with cross. And I don't know whether this is because we're an undersized team, or whether it's because we don't know how to defend it, or it's because we don't have a keeper that exerts confidence. Mendy today was decent, but Mendy today made a big mistake. Cross comes in, the first goal for Awani, cross comes in, Mendy's in no man's land, Awani just has to knock it in, empty net. And the reality is, this insinuates what kind of problem we have if we don't sign a keeper. Kepa's not good enough, Mendy's not good enough, and we're going to have to either throw Salina into the mix or just deal with it. I don't know what we're going to do, because unless we go get an Onana, and even then I don't think Onana's that great, I'm a bit worried. I like Mike Maignan from AC Milan. I like Diego Costa from, I think it's Benfica or Porto, one of the two. But even then, Diego Costa's not one of the most convincing when it comes to receiving the ball and catching the ball. He's more of a shot stopper and feet expert. Very comfortable on the ball. He's very Onana-like. We're linked with Raya, who I'm not convinced with. We're linked with so many keepers that I'm just not convinced with. And the worrying thing is, I don't know who we're going to go after. So, guys, the ugly here, and one final one, but I almost forgot. Luckily, I checked my notes. Mateo Kovacic. Kovacic looked like a player that just doesn't care today. Like, he lost the ball, we conceded because of him. Ignore that. His effort levels are beyond pathetic. He got subbed off. He walked around, he walked off. This could be the last time we ever see Mateo Kovacic in the Chelsea top. And it's really sad because he's a Champions League winner with the club. There's a lot of respect that I have for the player. I think he's a technically gifted player, like a very, very gifted player. But the reality is, it is what it is. It's time to move on. I hope we move on. And yeah, I hope it's one of those things. But guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts. Peace out. I'm out.